More proof that the government's green energy dream is just that, a dream, or more accurately, a nightmare. New figures today show the government has been unable to fill what it's calling clean energy apprenticeships. That's renewable energy superpower talk for Sparkies to help completely rewire the grid. They've created 10,000 apprenticeships, but less than 2,000 people have signed up for them. So how can the government expect to have renewables responsible for 82% of the energy grid by 2030 if we don't have the workforce to support it?
And this is what happens when decisions are made about face. This is what happens when you start with an outcome you want and then announce the outcome and then hopefully try and get all the other bits to slot in behind it and then, you know, bless yourself and hope that it works. Unfortunately, you want to go and do something like, you know, miles of transmission lines. You want to go and do these big energy projects. You want to go and put up solar panels and wind turbines and all these things. Well, you need trades to be able to do that. So you can't promise to deliver on something because I'm sure this stuff comes flat packed. I think it's like IKEA pieces, most of it. But someone still needs to put it together. And unfortunately, I don't think the government has really thought about that in this pursuit of, oh, well, we need to do this and we need to do this very quickly. The other thing too, James, is that you've got a number of state governments who are also embarking on big infrastructure projects. And so you've got tradies being torn between state government projects, federal government projects, and then obviously we need more domestic housing, and you've got them torn between those sorts of projects as well. So this is what happens when it all lands at once.
Exactly. I mean, if all these new tradies are building new transmission lines, who's building new homes? Remember the housing crisis, as you rightly point out. And even if you can find a tradie, the wait to build or renovate a home in Sydney has blown out to record levels thanks to massive delays for development application decisions by councils. The New South Wales Labor government, as an example, they want to build 75,000 new homes annually, but people are waiting on average 139 days for DA approval. So fat chance the housing target will ever be met.
Yeah, and particularly when you want to, or you have housing targets that are relatively short term, you're talking 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, when you have that sort of delay, you know, annexed to the front, that there is actually a large proportion of time on the way to that target. And that's assuming, obviously, that approval lands on day one. Look, this is an issue across the country. And this is why when we talk about housing, the idea that the federal government is going to build houses, the federal government isn't going to build a single house in this country. It requires all three levels of government to work together and pull in the same direction in order to get these sorts of things done. And as the situation is in Australia, and it's not just in the East Coast, it happens here as well in WA, when you've got different levels of government taking their sweet time to do whatever, and because, you know, they're busy with, you know, climate crisis and which flag they're flying out the front and all that other stuff, they're actually not doing the things that they should be doing. And then this is why we end up with these monstrous delays.
So, Caroline, you're saying the government housing targets are Buckley's and none?
I think they are rather optimistic, James.
Well, to prove just how out of touch this government is, new modelling shows that householders are working harder than ever, but earning less than they were before the pandemic. There's interest rates, cost of living, rents, they're all hammering us. No doubt people are feeling the pinch, and yet the government wants us to wait another 5 months minimum before we see any relief at all. I mean, you had to roll your eyes when Anthony Albanese said, we're going to provide cost of living relief in May. And he added this, he said, I've asked people to look into what we can do. Wasn't this the man who came to government saying, we've got a plan?
Yes, a plan for disappointing the nation. Look, the fact is, James, what are they going to do? There needs to be more. Well, look, we know that they can't just hand out money because then that there is inflationary and we go around the mountain again.
Right.
We have seen very, very sluggish real wages. We have seen a fall in living standards. We have seen a fall in productivity. There is a systemic issue in here in addition to just there being a cost of living crisis. Unfortunately, not dissimilarly to the infrastructure projects, everything has landed all at once. And we have seen a huge fall in living standards. People don't have the same purchasing power that they did previously. And then there are people calling for those stage 3 tax cuts to be cut. Well, that there is actually just getting rid of bracket creep. That is actually just giving people back more of their own money to do with as they please. And I think there'd be some people that would need it for their mortgage. There would be some people that would need it for expenses, which I appreciate can in circumstances be inflationary. And there are some people who wouldn't mind putting away a little bit more of a nest egg if they can, because I think a few people have been sailing a little closer to the wind than they would have liked to.
There's no doubt about that. Caroline Di Russo, thanks for your time.